Hello, future doctors. My name is Michael, first year medical student at the Aerosol University of Thessaloniki, and the premise of today's video is to tell you a little bit about the medical schools here in Greece. So maybe you're thinking of applying. So how it works is that, like other countries, Greece had their own medical degree in Greek, and just recently they started to offer that same degree in English. So the course is taught all in English, but at the end of the day, you get the same degree as the Greek students would. And obviously, the application process is a bit different because you're not applying the same way as the Greek students would. So that Greek degree that you get is an EU degree, and that's what makes the whole story cool because maybe you want to practice medicine in the EU, in which case with an EU degree you can do that, right? So that's what makes sort of all of the alternatives. You're probably thinking about Greece or Hungary or Poland or Cyprus, but that's what makes all of those countries cool, is that you get an EU degree so you can practice in the EU. With an EU degree, it's obviously also very easy to convert it to like a UK or like a US degree, through the USMLE. And so all of that you can also do. So that's why it's a cool choice, because your degree is recognized everywhere, and you get to study in a less competitive country. So how it works is that there are four medical schools here, or four medical schools that are open to that have English international courses. So there's one in Athens, one in Thessaloniki, one in Larissa, and one in Crete. Yes, so I'm in Thessaloniki. I was accepted into Larissa and Athens as well, so I can tell you a little bit about that, over this video. Crete I don't know much about, so I'm just gonna put that out there. Now I wasn't sure what you wanted to know, because obviously I've done it, so I don't know what you would want to know. So I asked ChatGPT to have a look through the internet and the Reddits to see what you guys are asking, and he's compiled a list of questions. So this video, it's going to be a Q&A. I've got ChatGPT's questions, and I'm going to try to answer them to the best of my knowledge. So first he thinks you guys would be interested in asking, how competitive is admission to medical schools in Greece? So as part of admission, we've got the interview process. We also do an admission test. Sometimes there's an interview after the test as well. So it's 2 to 3 interviews plus an admission test. There's a test for Larissa. I think there's a test for all of them actually, but definitely for Larissa and definitely for Thessaloniki, because I definitely sat those two. I don't remember the other two. Now, I don't think your admission is solely determined on an academic basis. And the reason I say this is because there are people, right now we're in exam season, and there are people that are struggling. So, struggling very much. So obviously it's not all academic. Obviously, there'll be some wild cards, and some percentage of the spots are allocated to students who perhaps have excellency in other domains. So I'm sure it's competitive, but there's an option for everyone. And even if you weren't terribly good at school, I'm sure there are other qualities they would look at in deciding your fate. Also, remember there are 4 universities, so it's you apply to all of them, but you're pretty sure to get into at least one. So, question 2, how difficult is the entrance exam? So the Larissa entrance exam was 40 questions, 20 on, I think it was 20 chemistry and 20 math, or maybe it was just 20 chemistry. It was something like that. Larissa was 40 questions, 20 chemistry, 20 biology. There, of course, biology. My mind blanked. Larissa, and then, so Thessaloniki is 20 chemistry, 20 biology, and 20 math / general knowledge / history, just basic general stuff. So I did the IB diploma. The chemistry test was at about the level of my chemistry diploma, so sort of what we were taught in the IB. I did it about this time last year, I don't remember when I did it, but whenever I did it, it's I had already gained enough knowledge from the IB so as not to have to study new chemistry materials for that chemistry test. And I like to think that I did pretty well on that test, on both of those tests, in fact, Larissa particularly so. But yes, so it's about the level of a chemistry SL IB curriculum. Don't remember much, but there were a lot of redox questions like reductions, and that was definitely big. That's chemistry. Biology, I can't speak much about it. I disliked it, but I haven't studied biology for 5 years. Like, I didn't do it at high school, so I can't speak about biology, but I'm sure it's on the same level as chemistry would be. And then for Thessaloniki, there's that 20 extra questions. Those were a combination of basic math, like I'm talking algebra, so really basic stuff, basic history. There was a lot of Greek mythology, so like brush up on that, just like who did what and what happened where. And then also remember that of the general knowledge questions, a lot of them had to do with Nobel Prizes or like discoveries in or related to medical fields. So that's something to have a thought about. But sort of, yeah. Next, question 3. What questions were asked during the interview? Now, the interviews were actually quite like tricky. They were a bit more technical than the other ones I've done. Like, it always started off with the basic questions, but then it got like, they asked why I chose this city in particular, which was a tough one because I applied to like all 4. I didn't have a reason for choosing that city in particular. I was asked if I applied to any other universities, which was also the first time I hear that. I was asked a couple questions that sort of were new, that threw me off guard, but overall I think went pretty well. Just followed the guiding principles that I speak about in other videos. But yeah, just stay cool under pressure. I think that's the big thing. If you are prepping for an interview, then I do have an interview prep series for medicine. It's a playlist on the YouTube channel. I'll link it somewhere. Yeah. All right, question 4. This one's marvelous. How do the clinical rotations work if everything happens in Greek? Yes, so you're taught in English, but obviously in year 3 you start going to the hospitals, and in year 6 you're full-time in the hospital. So what is the language barrier like? Well, firstly, a lot of people speak English. Secondly, you're never like one-to-one completely alone with the patients. There's always like a buddy, and usually they'll give you a Greek buddy, or if not, you'll shadow a doctor or a nurse or a staff or like a surgeon or whatever, in which case there won't be any talking required. So that's point 1. That's point 2. Point 3, you actually learn Greek here. Like, we're given Greek classes, which are quite good and really engaging, and I think we've made quite good progress. Remember, we'll have 3 years to get to a reasonable level of Greek, and it's not that hard because consider what a doctor needs to know. Like, all of the big technical words you use will be the same as in English, and then, like, how much Greek do you really need to know? Like, what's the patient going to talk about? All right, 5th question was as a comparison. It's like, is it better to study medicine in Greece or in other sort of international medical destinations? So I'm thinking Poland and Hungary and Cyprus and the Czech Republic and all of those others. So regarding a comparison, now, I have first-hand experience here, right? Like, I don't live there. I didn't do my thing there. So obviously I can't compare 1-to-1, but all I can tell you is that I'm enjoying my time here thoroughly, and I've got friends that got into medical schools and in like some of those other international countries, or friends who have friends that go into medical schools in those international countries, and it sounds like no one is enjoying as much as us. There are some countries where they make you learn Latin, and there are some where like you're neglected, and yeah, it sounds like here in Greece, or in Thessaloniki at least, we're having a great time, and that's not the case everywhere. Then the final question is sort of on choosing what city to, what Greek city. So you've applied to the 4 universities, maybe things went well and you got into more than one. How would you choose between them? So, I mean, I can only compare Athens, Larissa, and Thessaloniki because I visited all of those, and I was given a tour of the medical school. Larissa's nice. It's small. It's the smallest of the bunch, but it's a very villagey feel. The town is quiet. Well, the city is quiet. It's ranked I think the lowest, but they're trying really hard to make up for it. And what I mean by that is that sort of the from what I see, it's like the professors are really one-on-one, and they try to help you out. I remember I was given a tour of the school, and it's like there would be like a professor that shows me his department, and then I get thrown to the other professor and they show me their thing, and then there was a student that walked me around. And this was just me on the tour, mind you. So it was like they went through obviously a lot of time, and they prepared a lot to do that. So that was great. And it seemed like it was really like they really tried to make themselves better. Yeah, so I was impressed with Larissa. I think it's an underdog, but it's definitely a good option. Athens, I was not a fan. The campus is all the way up north. It's really hard to get to. The area is not very nice, and just felt very cold. I think it's the biggest of the bunch, and yeah, I didn't feel so welcome there. Of course, the international sort of the medical admission team, or like the guys that I talked to, they were nice, but sort of just the school as a whole wasn't as welcoming. And then there's Thessaloniki, that's option 3, and obviously I'm biased because I'm here, but I think it's the best of all of them. It's a student city. Everyone is super nice here. I think their program is ranked quite highly. Like, all of our professors are super smart. But then we also get like people from abroad that come in to do conferences. 2 Wednesdays ago we had like a cardiology thing, and there was a gentleman that came from the Mayo Clinic or some big hospital in the States, and he gave like a 1-hour seminar on his specific field of research, which was like little devices that they put in your heart, not like a pacemaker, but like other devices they would put in your heart to measure different things. So we got lots of international collaborations, and the professors are great. They're very smart, but they also like super nice to us. Everyone's really friendly. And then we've also got, I'd assume it's the same in all the universities, but there's also like like an office department or some staff that's dedicated specifically to the international students. And here in Thessaloniki, they're absolutely great. Here in Thessaloniki and in Larissa, those were the two I felt like sweetest staff. It's like they'll help you out with everything, and they're really kind, and they're absolutely phenomenal. So that's it for this video. If you've got any questions, I can answer it in a follow-up video, and I hope I provided some value. So thank you very much, and good luck with your medical admission journey.